It's a Sunday, no less. And Minister André Mendonça went all out against Inácio, right in the middle of Sunday. Guys, after Lula tried to remove delegates from the federal police, who were with André and uncovering all of Lula's dirty secrets. He had given the order, so it wouldn't look bad. He sent the Minister of Justice there to remove the delegates. No, come here, delegate. Now we're going to fight crime, and you need to be with us. But the federal police has hundreds of delegates. Do you think a delegate would make a difference? Obviously not, right? Obviously not. And then Lula had decided. André was there behind the scenes. Hey, bam, bam, boom. He let it out. I'm going to show you here what made Lula terrified. And the minister needed to have extra security. He's messing with sharks, my friends. Sharks. I'll show you everything here. Hit the like button. It's the first video of the day. There's a lot of news. A lot is happening here, okay? So share this with everyone. Family groups, friends groups. We'll show everything here on Pais e Filhos, Fabiano Guiguet.
Guys.
Before that, I want to share an opportunity. Show you Slim Fever. I always post videos here that I made recently, losing 2 kilos in a day. Then people say, no, it's just water weight and stuff. Look at the images. Look at my face. Look at my face. I only sell products here that I fully trust. Look at my face. Look at the image. This was months ago, not even a year. It's only been months, not even a year. I know what I'm talking about. Look, my pants. My pants. Look how loose it is. And obviously it's already here. I don't wear a belt, see? You can fit a hand in here. The product works, obviously, but the person has to have, discipline. That's how dieting works. You have to plan. But it helps a lot, guys. It was 20 kilos. 20 kilos that I lost, right? After 40, it gets harder for us to lose weight. It really is more difficult. Even practicing physical activity every day. And I do. I wasn't able to lose weight. Focus, discipline, I managed to lose it. The images speak for themselves. Look at my face. My face is totally different, right? So, it's worth it, for you who don't want to miss this opportunity. An easier, completely natural way. It's a little powder that you add, right? Especially in those greasy meals. It will help you eliminate fat, to lose inches. The link is right below. A great opportunity to lose weight, in a healthy way. With a changed quality of life. Totally. Pants that didn't fit before start to fit. Our self-esteem gets much higher. That's a fact, right? The link is right below for those who don't want to miss this opportunity to lose weight today, okay?
Yeah.
André Anuna. He won't back down. He won't back down. Lula has already realized that. And he put his supporters in action. Look, pay attention. He had to back down. He chickened out. He chickened out. And now the left here is making a statement on social media. Of course, very small. It's Sidonio's doing, because Sidonio gives the orders to all the activists, right? There aren't many, right? But for them to keep trying to link one thing to another, they're saying André Mendonça is biased. The PT supporter wants to discuss suspicion, right? With his ministers. These guys are shameless to him. Then they try to link Flavio with André, right? Look at that. Lula and all, he's the honest guy. It's outrageous. It's outrageous. Why? Things are totally out of control. Lula is already at a point where he's even saying he doesn't even know Jacques Wagner. Never heard of him. Now Jacques Wagner is also a friend of Bolsonaro. Jacques Wagner is already becoming, what? Cabeça branca? Whitehead is a friend of Bolsonaro. You guys are crazy. Stop it. Hey. After the federal, look at that. Yeah, I'll show you guys here. They were found dumped Let me see if I wanted to find the news here. I'll show you this one later. Right? Dumped at the guy's house. Right? 13 watches. Worth millions. I just can't understand, right, man? Something to check the time and all. But there are a lot of Lula's allies. I won't even say the name here. Some watches are worth over $500,000. A million. Lula himself. Watches worth 100, 200,000. It's not all gifts, but he can receive gifts. He can. Right? Lula shows off his little watch here and all. 200,000 reais. 200,000 reais. On those filthy paws over there. Yeah. And look how things are, right? Even at Agora, they're already saying that Jacques Wagner is from the PL, right? He's from the PL. He's a friend of Bolsonaro, a very close friend. 13 watches. Worth millions. $55,000. 33,000 euros. Who keeps 33,000 euros at home? The guy must be a politician. His salary, Jacques Wagner's salary, is 46,000 reais as a senator. 46,000. After taxes, how much is that? Around 39,000, something like that. Look at that. That's a great salary. But 33,000 euros, do the math. 33 times 6. $55,000. 55 times 5. The guy has a salary of 39,000. Money keeps popping up. Now, just imagine. If this happened with someone from the PL party, For sure, it had to be investigated, it had to be shown, then proven. Up until now, Jacques Wagner hasn't said where this money comes from. Because that's strange, isn't it? Whoa. Let's all become politicians, everyone. Look, there's Jackanim. Jackanim is becoming a millionaire. So, those guys, right? They're crazy. Between dollars and euros, seize cash. All of this has already been talked about a lot. Look at the situation. The man with dollars in his underwear defends the man with dollars in his apartment. And Lula defends both of them. Not so much now, since he's now trying to present him as a friend of Bolsonaro. As a friend of Bolsonaro's son. That little messed up thing over there is Bolsonaro's son. Yeah, but the brother is Bolsonaro's. But I want to tell you something here, okay? Stay until the end of this video. There's a lot to show here. There's no way. There's no way for them to fool public opinion. It's hard. André picked the biggest fight, right? With the misgovernment. It's just the beginning. There's still Lula's son. You guys think it's André? He's working quietly, guys. He can't. Did you see what he got? This is going to be a mess. This thing about he didn't want to warn the federal police chief director. He was with Lula. Do you think André is crazy? So, he gets it now that he's working undercover. He can't blink. He blinked. They already know. There's still Lulinha. There's Lula's brother. There's Rui Costa. And many other characters. Cabeça Branca over there is just the beginning. Planalto, yes, not Plamalto. Lula backs down after Mendonça's reaction about the federal police investigator. Lula backed down. Look at that. There's the name of the Minister of Justice, of Injustice, because there's no justice here. The Ministry of Injustice and Public Security decided to keep the federal police investigators at the Supreme Court. The decision was made after André complained about the possibility of losing his office advisor. And remember that this so-called Minister of Justice was appointed by Jacques Wagner in there. Do you understand, my friends? Jacques Wagner was the one who appointed him because he's from Bahia. The guy there, the Minister of Justice, is from Bahia. He had already been, right? He was supposed to be a minister in Dilma's government. He didn't pass the evaluations they do there. You know, the ones they talk about. At the time, many years ago. And now Lula brought him in. After Ricardo Lewandowski, who also got caught, he ended up leaving. Because it was discovered that he also got money from Forcaga. He was the Khan's counselor, right? Counselor, something like that. And his son continued. And there are still a lot of big sharks out there. There are a lot. They say that at the Gilmar Palooza event, nobody wanted to stand next to Ricardo de Lewandowski. Gilmar's event was a disaster this year. People were forced. Piauí magazine put their employees there, the professors from that IDP, Gilmar Mendez's institute, they were forced to attend this event. They had their tickets paid for, but they had to pay for their own daily expenses at the event, which had blocks there from Jamar, Gilmar. They do these blocks in Portugal, and there were 5 people. 5 people. What a ridiculous thing. They do it in Portugal precisely because the press goes after them here, so they need that appearance, right? According to released information, the measure prevents the Supreme Federal Court from being included among the agencies that would need to return federal police officers to the corporation. Members of the government stated that the exception is intended not to harm the investigation. Now they say, no, we don't want to harm the investigation because André went there and he didn't go there and bring everyone. I said, yeah, are you trying to make things worse here? Are you trying to... Should I start using ink here now, right away? And the guys went there and chickened out. The discussion gained momentum in the ministry, not in the Ministry of Initiated. Lula watered it. It's already making a big impact. Everyone is talking about it, right? All of this. Look, I was watching this video. The reaction on the internet is huge. Afterwards, right? Let's see, there's this video here. Look, let's take a look. The Lula government has just suffered a ceremonial defeat because the mainstream media was forbidden from having contact. Forget the official narrative. While you hear the noise, observe.
About conflicting news on the case. Repercussion. The mainstream media was forbidden from telling you this. Forget the official narrative while you heard the noise. A bunch of conflicting news about the master case. Minister André Mendonça carried out a scorched earth operation. And he didn't target the front men. He went straight for the nerve center of power. Watch this video until the end and I guarantee you'll understand everything. He did this in 4 acts. First, Mendonça aimed at the heart of the Centrão. With the secrecy orders lifted, he exposed the flow of bribes to Davi Alcolumbre, Hugo Mota, and Ciro Nogueira. These names, my friends, are not just members of parliament. They are the operators behind the scenes in Brasilia. He proved that Congress does not govern for the public interest. It funds itself through this criminal scheme. Second, he stopped the legal coup by Gilmar Mendes, Alexandre de Moraes, and their Supreme Federal Court accomplices. Mendonça overturned the lavajatismo doctrine that the Supreme Federal Court was using to annul everything. He sent the message, I'm not interested in convenient plea deals, and said he won't participate in demeaning work.
That's it for everything. Do you think that makes sense? Great video. The guy has a salary of $40,000. And to have so many properties like that? Jacques Wagner is a unionist, guys. And a unionist. Look, just so you have an idea, let me tell you something. Years ago, when there were no unions, those guys had nothing to their name. When there were no unions, those guys had nothing to their name. If they died, they'd need the city hall to help with the wake and the burial. They didn't have it. They had nothing. They got rich. Extremely wealthy family. Look at that. Furtado paid for Taylor Swift concert tickets for the granddaughters and daughters of Cabeza Branca over in Los Angeles in the United States. This doesn't make any sense. Something like that. It doesn't make sense. And then he paid here at Allianz Parque. He bought a $2.5 million apartment. And he's practically Lula's partner in politics. These guys didn't have a penny to their name. André knows that. André knows. Everything they built was after they became politicians. Do you understand now how the dictatorship talk brings him money? No. Look, Brazil is in a dictatorship. These military men, they come from that time. These military men, military dictators, And there are a lot of dictators. And there are, I don't know how many dictators. And I want to get in to change that. So they got in, became millionaires. 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 You there, who has always worked as a confectioner. You work from Monday to Monday. For you, there's no 5 on, 5 off schedule. You work 7 days a week, no days off. 7 on, 0 off. 7 on, 0 off. It's working all the time, just like an ant. Blah, just like an ant. An ant. Little ant, little ant, little ant. Not them. Oops. It's all just to create a smoke screen. And André, after everything he did. After all this, André, right? Look at that. He chickened out. He confronted. As it was said, even SBT put it here. Okay? He stood up to it completely. The chief is going to stay. He's going to stay. Lula gave up, and even SBT is reporting it.
The move was seen within the federal police itself and in the Supreme Federal Court as an attempt to remove the chief from Minister André Mendonça's office.
He already had to go back. And here Dallagnol points it out. Dallagnol will be a senator there for Paraná. He and our Felipe Barros will be senators. Okay? I don't have that kind of thing. He talked about Bolsonaro. The fight is over. The fight is over. It's over. Look ahead. Look at what I'm going to do. Am I going to build Glaze up? Am I going to make Glaze a senator? No way. She's on our side now. That's what matters. What's that? I've already said what I had to say. It's over.
I'll tell you why later. This is one of the biggest and most prosperous cities in Paraná, with a very strong presence of agribusiness and industry. News. I stopped everything here. I stopped the trip early this morning to bring you this explosive news. Justice André Mendonça of the Supreme Federal Court is under threat. His security has been reinforced, and during this week's trial, where he humiliated Guilmar Mendes, he himself said a blood-chilling phrase. Chilling. I'm going to tell you now what he said and what's happening behind the scenes that forced the minister to reinforce his security. Read this article with me. It was published in Folha de São Paulo. Take a look. André Mendonça has increased security after taking on the master case at the Supreme Federal Court. What does this article say? Minister André Mendonça from the Supreme Court had his security increased after taking on the master case. The measure was adopted due to an internal analysis by the court that identified an increased risk to his safety.
André is really extremely threatened. Imagine how worried his family must be. He had already gone through this during Operation Car Wash, not in the Dutano. He knows very well what that is. He knows very well. The deeper André goes, the more his and his family's physical safety is put in a complicated situation. And those guys want to get the chief out of his office. Peace, huh? Man, it's a joke, right? But Brazil is watching. André isn't scared. Did you hear what André told Guilmar? I'm not afraid of death. Let alone being a minister. I'm not, and he looked with those crazy big eyes. I'm not afraid of death, Guilmar. I'm not afraid of death. Big Sunday. Lula's hair is standing on end. Those little old rat hairs of his, you know? Hit that little button and come be part of our family. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share a lot. A whole lot. Share it with your friend, your girlfriend, your enemy, your female enemy. I know you guys don't have any, right? But in those groups, share it with everyone there. Type up the entire agenda, all right? I'm already...
Back here on Pais e Filhos, Fabiano Guiguet.